Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. So, about a week ago or so, I'm at the local record store and I'm looking at the racks of the used CDs, and I found three copies of Taylor Swift's brand new CD, but they had it used for like $6 because it had a broken case. So, I haven't been living in a cave for the last 10 years or whatever it is, but I never had a Taylor Swift album before. Maybe because I felt I was too old. I'd seen bits and pieces of her on like the music award shows, and every once in a while she'll do some pop song that I absolutely can't stand. But at the same time, where I work retail, they're always playing that song, Love Story, great song. I heard Dear John, great song. Obviously, she's an incredible talent, and she writes her own songs, although apparently she has help. So it's okay. And I just never bought her stuff. And now this album came out, and of course it's taking over the world. It broke every goddamn record there is. Every song in the top 10 of the charts is from the album. Of course, it's a different world that they really don't have singles anymore, but still, it's an incredible accomplishment. She sold more in one day of this album than any other album the whole year. And you know what? This is her 10th studio album, and the fact that she is still so massively successful after 10 years really is an incredible accomplishment. I mean, she just announced today her upcoming tour called Eras, and it's all going to be stadiums, and she's already opening up with multiple shows at stadiums, and she's going to add more because they're going to sell instantly, and it may become the biggest tour of all time. She's obviously an amazing talent. So I saw the album cover there, and it was called Midnights, and I love the cover. It kind of reminded me when I was younger, Ricky Lee Jones's cover, and that was a pretty big album at the time. I'm like, she's 32 years old. She's not a kid. God knows how many relationships she's been through, and she's not afraid to share her experiences and write about it, and people fawn over her lyrics. And it's called Midnights, and it's about, when she wakes up in the middle of the night, what she's thinking about and reminiscing and things that she regrets. And I'm like, you know what? We could all, relate to that. In fact, over the last year, I'm having trouble sleeping for the first time in my life. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about things about my life. So I'm like, I'm going to get this thing. And based on the cover and the theory behind it, I'm thinking it's going to be like this acoustic meaning real instruments, and confessional type album. So I put it on and played it the first time, and I'm like, what the hell is this? It was nothing like I expected. It's all electronic, there's no real acoustic drums to speak of, and it's a mood piece that pretty much through the whole thing generates one mood. And I am not an electronic kind of a guy generally. I like acoustic music, real guitars and real drums, and that's what kind of music that I thought she pretty much does. So I was really taken back, and the first time or two times I listened to it, I'm like, there's some real potential there. A lot of these songs could be huge hits, but I give her so much credit because she didn't go that way, and she decided to do something really different. But here's the tricky thing. This album has grabbed the shit out of me, and I can't stop playing it. I've played it about 8 times now in the past 5 days, and I know it pretty well. So I feel confident to do a review. So this is the cover, and apparently what I've found out now, there's actually 4 different covers, and this is the back of it. And if you look kind of closely, it looks like a clock. Great cover, great artwork. That's what it really grabbed me, to be honest with you, at first. And then this is the inside. There's the disc, which is a clock. And these are the songs. It's packed with the lyrics, and what are they called? Swifties. They definitely fawn over all the lyrics. I love the first 2 pages explains what the theme of the album is. What keeps you up on at night. And even if you're Taylor Swift and a billionaire and the top of the world, things still keep her up at night, and that's awesome. Let's go through the tracks. The first song is Lavender Haze. Interesting opener because it's really heavy and not overly melodic and not overly catchy. And and I'm not going to go through the lyrics because I'm not a lyric kind of. That's the least thing that's important to me. But the lyrics are great. She's totally confessional, and she's not afraid to talk about her life, and that's awesome. And this is one of the few songs that's really written by committee. You'll see her, and the producer is Jack Antonoff does an amazing job. He really has his stamp all over this album because the whole album sounds unified. But there's a couple of other people on there that contributed to the song as well. Maroon is the second song, and I loved it. And I got to tell you, and this album is a grower, like most albums. You keep playing it, it'll just grow on you. Maroon's awesome. She has great phrasing. She completely sings differently within the context of the song, and it's really awesome. I love Maroon. The third song is Antihero. I guess you would say that's the first single, and it's awesome. And again, I give her credit because if she wanted to go straight pop, I was going to say it's a number one hit. Well, it's a number one hit anyway. But that could be a real straight pop song, and I'm sure when she plays it live, everybody's going to go crazy. If she's on an award show, it'll be really annoying. Everybody go nuts, and she'll probably have a big production. But it's a great song, and she held it back because of the musical styling of the album. Really good. Snow on the Beach is the next song. It features Lana Del Rey. And you could hear some of her influence on there. There's a Lana Del Rey album. But I barely hear her in it. It's really understated. It's definitely Taylor Swift controlling this thing. Really excellent song. You're on Your Own, Kid. Another really good song. Midnight Rain. Boy, that's an interesting one because every time I'm hearing it, I'm like, who is she singing with? What guy is she doing a duet? But you look on the credits, there is no guy. And that's because there is no guy. Jack Antonoff and her, I guess they brought, through the electronics, they made her voice so low like a guy. And she does a duet, in a sense, with herself, and it's awesome. Really good tune. Really like it. Really good artwork in the booklet. Next is, I think, maybe the best song on there called Question. When you question yourself, when you walk into a party, are they talking about you? That kind of thing. Great song, great hook, awesome track. Would have been my choice for first single, but they're all hit singles, and Antihero is great anyway. Vigilante Shit, another killer song. She's dressing up to go to the town to, Vigilante, I'm getting back at you kind of a thing. Bejeweled, well, that's one of the real poppy ones. I saw a video, apparently, a huge budget video of like Cinderella. Really fun video, and that's that song. Really good. That's more of a real straight pop song, and again, I can see her doing that live with this big production and everybody going crazy. But on the album, it's still fairly understated, which is nice. Labyrinth, another really good tune. Really good tune. I love the chorus. There's a bridge on there. Uh-oh, I'm falling in love. Completely different than the rest of the song. She sings in a really high register. Excellent. The next song is Karma, which is my least favorite song on the album because that's basically a straight pop song. And you can kind of tell that's the one right there that's written by committee, basically. And it's like more of, I guess, what would be a Taylor Swift pop song. It's certainly not bad. It's certainly catchy, but I don't think it's as strong as the rest of the album. Sweet Nothing is a really cool little track where sounds like she's just at this little tiny keyboard. Somewhere there's a picture of her with a little keyboard. That's what that sounds like. And then it ends with Mastermind, another excellent understated track. Couple of other things that stand out. She's an excellent singer. I love her phrasing throughout the different songs. She's not afraid to curse, but in a really classy way. She'll say fucking this and fucking that. But like I taught my kids when they were younger, cursing is great. I love saying fuck. But the idea is that you do it when there's a point to it. If you say fuck all the time, it loses its meaning. And she doesn't here. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And you can see she's getting things off of her chest. And it's really effective. So something else to point out. It's an adult album. My understanding is it's very different. This is my first Taylor Swift album. I definitely want to look for the last two because I think those are supposed to be more like acoustic, introspective albums. One's called Folklore. So this is my entree to Taylor Swift. This is supposed to be a pretty difficult listen for her, and it sucked me in a huge way. I can't stop listening to it. So a huge, huge thumbs up. My best friend in California, Mike, listened to it on Spotify. He doesn't really care for it. And if you're watching this, Mike, give it some time. Like any album, the more you listen to it, the more it grows on you. This is a real grower and a very adult album. Not the kind of thing that you want to listen to all the time. But Midnights is the name of it. Put this on at midnight. I think it's a really strong listen. This background, some other things that I picked up, I definitely hear, not that I'm saying she was influenced by them, but if you like these artists, I definitely, that song, what was that, Karma? Man, that sounds totally like Kobe Calais. I definitely hear some experimental stuff like you would hear in the experimental albums of Kate Bush is on here. So she's not the only first one that's done it, but it's unique on this version. But I definitely hear some of that. Clearly, Lana Del Rey with that heavy, monotonous kind of a theme. But on this album, it works. This album's a little too long. And certainly when Joni Mitchell got experimental with Dog Eat Dog and Chalk Mark and a Rainstorm and Hissing in Summer Lawns, Joni didn't have as much electronica on there, but not afraid to experiment as well. So there you go. Please, if you enjoyed this video, check out my other videos. But this old guy, not afraid to experiment with new music. And Taylor Swift, man, I'm going to have to rediscover your discography in a big, big way. Thanks for tuning in. Please hit subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one. Stay safe. Stay healthy out there. And have a great night.